Okay. Oh, I get you in here. We waited for you.
Okay, is everybody ready for the flag? Let's celebrate. Let's do it. All right. Now, there you go.
We're here, San Francisco. We're here.
Hi, I'm Supervisor Jeff Sheehy, so I'm hoping everybody can come in and join us. Yeah, thank you. I want to welcome everyone to City Hall. I think the last time I was in a position kind of like this was when we had a huge party here. Thank you, Mayor Brown, called Reunion. Well, the entire City Hall was a big party. I think it was right around Pride too. But I want to welcome you to Pride in San Francisco. I think this officially kicks off Pride Week. It's an honor. I'm incredibly proud to be here today, and thank you all for coming. So to start off, I'd like to introduce Mayor Lee. First of all, I am incredibly grateful to him for my appointment. Thank you. First openly HIV positive supervisor. And actually, I have to thank Speaker Pelosi as well, Leader Pelosi. I'll never stop saying speaker. I still have a picture of my wall of you and my daughter when you were speaker. It's in my office. It was lovely. But I wouldn't be here today without Leader Pelosi. The first medications I took were paid for by the AIDS Drug Assistance Plan, which you pushed through the Congress, and your work, not just on HIV and AIDS, but for our civil rights is historic. Thank you. So Mayor Lee has been a longtime champion of the LGBTQ community. I don't know if people remember when he was director of the Human Rights Commission. He fought to add gender identity to gender discrimination laws. And he's appointed so many in our community to so many commissions. He has been a true leader for our community. And I'm very proud to be here in City Hall and working with him. And by the way, he's funded priorities for our community. This is the first year we haven't had to backfill HIV/AIDS cuts. Again, thank you, Leader Pelosi. But routinely, without question, we have been backfilled year after year after year. Thank you, Mayor Lee.
Thank you, Jeff. Happy San Francisco Pride. Yeah. All of you, you're as beautiful as the flag, and the flag is as beautiful as all of you. Welcome to the People's Palace, this wonderful celebration of pride and recognition, and I just want to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors here joining. Thank you to the Pride organization that makes this happen every year. 47 years of Pride celebration in our city. Isn't this wonderful? Yes. And and it's very important, as Jeff said, that we celebrate, because there's enough to struggle about. Once in a while, we got to just get together and party and enjoy each other, enjoy what we accomplish, enjoy why we struggle so hard, enjoy a moment where Leader Pelosi is not having to fight everybody. She can love everyone at the same time with us here. And I want to say thank you to our LGBTQ community for being such a great partner in our city. And of course, I want to recognize our protocol chief in our city, because, you know, Pride is not just celebrated in San Francisco, it is celebrated all over the world. And we want to recognize all of our international partners as we celebrate in this great city. A lot of people don't have the kinds of rights and struggles and community that we have, don't have the friends like we have, don't have the support like we have. And we want to spread this love all over the world and make sure everybody has a chance to understand what it is to live freely with our families and with our loved ones. You know, I want to say thank you to Supervisor Xi again, because when I appointed him, I knew someone who had a great history in this city, and he's doing it. As not only is he doing it for those who suffer from HIV and AIDS, and you know, he's done all that research with UCSF. Today, with the board's help, he's helping us with LGBTQ youth who are still coming to San Francisco, still looking for a way, still looking for freedom. We want to be the most welcome city for all of them and do everything we can to make sure their lives are not lost or misdirected. This, of course, is the 2-year anniversary of marriage equality. That's another thing to celebrate. Fundamental right, something that we all know right here in San Francisco happened. I see Kate Kendall, and she was right here at the center with all of this happen. Thank you very much, National Center for Lesbian Rights. And again, another great thing to celebrate right here at City Hall. I also want to make sure you know that our city continues and has always welcomed change from people all over the world, to make sure that they are accepted here, to make sure that they have loving relationships right here when they get married at our San Francisco City Hall. It's not just Fridays, it's every single day that people choose to live their lives with their partners. And as a reminder, I also want to make sure you all know that the work is still ahead for all of us, because we have to keep teaching against hate. And we're lucky to be in San Francisco, but we got work to do as well. And I'll talk about work in a minute, because we all want to celebrate, but I also know, too, that this is a year ago that we celebrate the lives that are lost. We remind ourselves about still how hatred raises its heads up in an ugly way in other parts of our country. We try our best to not have it happen here, but there are other places where it will and has happened. And we need to celebrate the 49 lives of people who were lost at the Pulse, a nightclub, a year ago. And I just wanted to say that for everything that we do, we can't do enough to continue to change people's opinions and reduce the hate. We've got a lot of work to do in that area, and I want to know that with Leader Pelosi's leadership, with the Board of Supervisors' leadership, with all of us, from assessor to elected officials, to people in the media, to our city college and educators, let's all continue to work together to create love everywhere that we find hate. So we're not just celebrating in San Francisco, I said earlier, we're not just celebrating just the LGBT community, because that LGBT community has allowed all of us to celebrate pride. Pride in eliminating barriers of discrimination. Pride in bringing out the best that everybody has to offer in a community like San Francisco. And today, we have a special memory, a memory of a special man who has left his legacy in the wonderful symbol of pride throughout the world, and that is Gilbert Baker. Let's give us a hand for somebody. You know, I can still imagine in my mind when, as a creative artist, he was there in some room with people sewing pieces of colorful fabric together and wondering if anybody would recognize what this was really all about. Well, today is not just a symbol in San Francisco. It is a symbol of pride all around the world. That's what he did, was gift us something that we can use not only artistically, it's a symbol of struggle and of pride for everyone. So I want to say thank you to Gilbert Baker for your contribution to international history. I still remember those times when I was the head of DPW, and I never knew DPW could be that important. But we helped them put that flag up there at Market and Castro. You know, when you put a big flagpole up, you gotta have public works. So we're very proudful of those moments when even our own infrastructure self can actually contribute to something that's a symbol throughout the whole world. I have particular pride in that as well. He'll be missed, and I wanted us to make sure we remembered him in our thoughts and prayers as we celebrate this, and as we use the flag, as we wear the flag, as we draw the flag, for our kids. As we use the symbol, let's remember the people who brought this symbol together and what their thoughts were and how we have grown. So I want to say thank you to the entire San Francisco Pride Board, its staff, and all the people that are dedicating their volunteer hours to celebrate this time. I want to say thank you to all the Grand Marshals that are being honored this year. Wow, from all over the backgrounds. To the Heritage awardees, the commemorative awardees, and a special thank you to Tom Horn and the Rob Ross Foundation for supporting us tonight on this event. Thank you, Tom. Yes. To Taste Catering. This is going to be an exciting week, ending with an exciting weekend. But as I said earlier, we've got not only celebrations to do and bring people together, let's use this opportunity to make sure that the values of San Francisco also become adoptive to people in Texas, to people in North Carolina, to people in Mississippi. They're suffering. They don't have a way to go forward. And we have answers. We have real answers based in real facts. So it is my honor to officially declare this to be, at June, the LGBTQ Pride Month. George, come on up and take this.
Thank you.
And I know the MTA is going to holler at me, but you got free parking the whole week. Thank you, George. Yeah, we can, with all the revenue that Pride's going to bring in, we can waive a few parking tickets. It is also my pleasure, my honor, my deep, deep appreciative feeling that I have for this leader of our region of the country, who every day we see examples of how she fights for all of us, fights for diversity, fights for climate change, fights for facts to lead this country. And this is, of course, our own congressional representative, Leader Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for your kind words, more importantly, for your great leadership, for being there every step of the way. Human Rights Commission, Department of Public Works. As mayor of the city, it's an honor to be here with you to salute your leadership as you declare Pride, officially Pride Month in San Francisco. To the Pride Board, I join you in saluting the Pride Board, and to other members of the official family who are here, and the Pride family that is here, and my own family, Christine, who is here. We never miss an opportunity to come to express our appreciation for what the LGBTQ community means to America. All of the work that was done, Mr. Mayor, over the years in the fight against HIV/AIDS, Supervisor, she heard me saying this on Saturday at the Grove. I do believe that the successes we have had in fully inclusive hate crimes legislation, the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, marriage equality, all of those things happen because of the activism and the organization of people in the fight against HIV and AIDS. It is, on marriage equality, I have to say, in saluting our chief of protocol, we were here 2 years ago, and it was the 70th anniversary of the United Nations. So we're here to celebrate, to honor the Secretary General, all that, and it was the day that the court ruled on marriage equality. So we're down there making our speeches, and we'd say a sentence, and people would be cheering, and we'd think, well, that wasn't exactly an applause line. And then somebody else would say something, another speaker, and they're cheering. But what we realized that like every 5 minutes, somebody else was getting married up here, and they were cheering the weddings. Remember that show? All this cheering. It was such an exciting day because just by coincidence, we were honoring the Secretary General for his work on LGBT community issues at the UN. It all came together. And it can come together if people make that decision. Now, I would have not be me if I were not giving you a task. And all the things we talked about, marriage equality, don't ask, don't tell, fully inclusive hate crimes legislation, one unfinished piece of business, and there'll be more, I'm sure, is that ending discrimination in the workplace. And that has always been our goal, ENDA. And then we decided, why just the workplace? It has to be in everything, in workplace, in credit, jury duty, you never know when that comes in handy, transportation, housing, and every subject. So we did what the mayor did here in the city. We decided to open up the Civil Rights Bill. This is a big deal. Nobody wants to open the Civil Rights Bill up with some of the cast of characters that are there now, because you never know what they might take out. But nonetheless, we decided that we had to do it under David Cicilline's leadership as the author, bipartisan. We have a couple of Republicans, but bicameral House and Senate, with the full cooperation of the Congressional Black Caucus, who stands guard over the Civil Rights Act, as you can imagine. And also the beautiful words of Julian Bond before he left us, that it was overdue that we amend the Civil Rights Act. So we need you to call anybody from other place. Were you all born in San Francisco? I'm not sure. Maybe, but maybe not. So call home. If you live in a Republican, families in a Republican district, have them call their member of Congress. We need to have full equality guaranteed by the Civil Rights Act in every category. Of course, all that have been named already, but now to include the LGBTQ community. It can be done. It's just a decision. It's just a decision. So as we salute Gilbert Baker for this beautiful symbol, he said visibility is important. And imagine the visibility mark that he gave us with this. Just say no more. You just see it, you know what that means. And his good friend, and many of our friends, although most of you are too young, Harvey Milk, when he said, hope must never be silent. So visibility and voice. We won't be silent. We will show our support. So when the mayor talks about places, other people in other places and how they are, I'm reminded that my colleagues, and forgive me, Jeff, because you heard me say this on Saturday, people would say to us from all other places, well, of course, you're right, what's going on in Georgia right now. They have ads about our San Francisco values, of which we are very, very proud. But sometimes people will say to me, it's so easy for you, you're from San Francisco, and people are so tolerant there. And I said, tolerant? That's a condescending word to me. It's not about tolerance. It's about respect. It's about taking pride. So let us enjoy Pride Month, Pride Week, Pride Day, Pride every day of the year. Thank you for your leadership in making so much happen. Thank you for what you're going to do to pass the Civil Rights Act, fully inclusive of LGBTQ in it. And let's remember, Harvey said, hope cannot be silent. Gilbert said, we must be visible. Let's do all of that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Leader Pelosi, for all of your leadership. I also want to acknowledge our honored guests that are here today, Assessor Carmen Chu, President of the Board, London Breed, Supervisor Malia Cohen, School Board, I can't read the writing, Mark Sanchez, I should know that anyway, School Board Member Mark Sanchez, Community College Board Trustees Alex Randolph and Tom Temprano. School Board Member Hydra Mendoza, McDowell. Former Senator Mark Leno. So great to have you here, Mark. I want to acknowledge Keith Baraka from Rescue, which is an LGBT firefighter organization. And also, the sheriff Hennessy Sheriff Hennessy was here, as was Chief White, former Supervisor Leslie Katz, the fabulous Donna Shea is here. Of course, we've given a shout out to NCLR's leader, Kate Kendall, a hero of mine. And then we have Small Business Commissioner Stephen Adams, Building Inspection Commissioner Gail Gilman, Fire Commission President Ken Cleveland. We have War Memorial Trustee Tom Horn, and thank you again. Thank you again for your leadership to Bob Ross Foundation making all this possible today. Treasure Island Director Mark Dunlop. And then we have we have representatives from the offices of Senator Wiener, Assemblyman Chu, and Assemblyman Ting. And then I want to thank Matthew Godot and Martha Cohen for putting this on. Just a fabulous job, special events. Oh yes, Patrick Carney, Pink Triangle. And then I do want to give a shout out to my husband, Bill Berry. And now it's time to introduce George Ridgely of San Francisco Pride. You're going to come up and say a few words. Thank you for all that you do. Pride has been so tremendous under your leadership. Michelle Meow from the board.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lee. Thank you, Leader Pelosi. Thank you, Supervisor Sheehy. It's humbling to be here in your presence. I asked our board president, Michelle Meow, to join me. Yes, she deserves that. You know, we work on this event all year long, and it starts to become a reality right around today when we raise the flag on City Hall. But Michelle and I very rarely do anything where we're not by each other's side, so it would be weird to be up here right now and not have her with me. It is our 47th anniversary. Our theme this year is a celebration of diversity. We chose that theme back in September, back before the election, back before the world changed, and it seems more appropriate than ever that is our theme this year, that we are embracing our diversity and celebrating ourselves. I think the number one question I get asked is Pride still relevant? Do you think it's still necessary? And in hearing you talk about visibility, absolutely, it is clear that the gains we have made are fragile, and that if we are not out, I get emotional about this, if we're not out every year being visible, they are at risk. So thank you for being here and being a part of this. This is why I love having her.
Just going to say a couple words because I'm not sure if I'll ever get an Emmy, and I've always had a dream that when I get up to the podium and a mic, I'm going to say something very important. But I would like to thank my entire board for their hard work and also their support. Without them, we wouldn't really have this mega of a team. So there's Melanie Nathan, who is here, our vice president. There's William Walker. There's also Huynh Pham, who's here. He's also with CHEER-SF. He's our board secretary. We have Jacqueline Graziano Bishop. Ooh, look at that, I got that. She's our board treasurer. Joey Cupcake, who just had a baby and who's here with her baby and her beautiful partner, Pike. Justin Taylor couldn't be here with us tonight. DJ Gray is here. Anita Ekenham, who's the chair of the Community Affairs Committee, as well as the organizer of the Resistance Contingent, who will be kicking off this year's Pride Parade. And we also have Kenzie Connor, who's here with us, and so With myself, that makes 10. I also would like to thank our Grand Marshals. As we mentioned, San Francisco Pride has been around for 47 years. One of the most important facets of San Francisco Pride is honoring the great talent that's here in San Francisco. So tonight we've got Alex Yuen, who's our Community Grand Marshal. We mentioned earlier Kate Kendall of National Center for Lesbian Rights, NCLR, is being recognized for the 40 years of service and the amazing fight that they are there for us. We also have Chris Carnes, over 40 years of service to our community. Amy Tsuyoshi, who's with the dean of the ethnic studies at San Francisco State. I'm an alumni. We also have Dr. Marcy Edelman, who's a Lifetime Achievement Award, a recipient. Where we? Oh, the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. I'm sorry. It's also the organizational. Look, we here at Pride, we give away an award for just being you. We also have Danny Castro, who's here with us, who's also the Community Grand Marshal. Brett Andrews, who's representing Positive Resource Center, who's also being recognized this year. Ella Parra Translatina, who's here. Tried to do that all with memory by saying hello to everyone, but that's how close I feel to all of our Grand Marshals who teach us all how strong and how resistant we are as a community. And I have a feeling that my time is up because I kind of hijacked George's spot. Last but not least, I just want to mention that Subi Nahas is also here. He's receiving the Jose Julio Saria History Maker Award, and Blackberry, who's an artivist, who shows us that resistance isn't just about showing up with a sign, but you can sing it, you can make it, you can create it. Thank you, Blackberry, for all the hard work that you do. Also, the Bay Area American Indian Two Spirits organization will be recognized. I think I got everyone. So don't forget, Pride is this weekend. Although we're kicking it off at the mayor's office. So we can't wait to see you. It's a very, very important year. So we're going to celebrate our diversity. Diversity is our strength. Diversity is our unity. And in diversity, we will resist. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you see why I like having her by my side. So I will wrap up. I won't take up any more time, but I am wearing the G today. It's normally for George, but today it's for Gilbert. I didn't know him personally, but this year takes on certainly a heavy meaning, and he will be missed. I met him once in in the frenzy of preparing for the event. He was in our conference room, and I got to meet him for like 30 seconds, and I wish that I had taken more time. So, on that note, come out with us this weekend, march with us, celebrate with us, and we love you all and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
I do want to talk about Gilbert and remember Gilbert. Well, before I do so, first of all, I forgot to mention Planning Commissioner Dennis Richards, so he's here. Thank you. But when I think of Gilbert as a leader and a hero that we've lost, I also want to take a minute to remember Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk. When I'm in this building, I'm always reminded of that loss. So, but on to Gilbert. Gilbert. And Tom Taylor is going to talk about Gilbert. But Gilbert was a great friend of mine. And, with Gilbert, there was always this recognition that art is politics and politics are art. And I could tell any number of stories about him, but the one I think I'll tell, since the mayor brought it up and I think he had a hand in it, was getting the rainbow flag put up at the corner of Castro and Market, that beautiful installation. It was a dream of Gilbert's, and this is probably his most fitting memorial, to have that happen. And he'd been working on it for 10 years. He'd found a flagpole that was left over from the UN conference in 1945 in a DPW yard. He'd weighed it. He'd calculate how much that particular spot could handle in weight. He figured out how much wind versus the pole, because you can know it gets quite windy there. So he had all the physics of the thing all figured out, but nobody would move on it. Now, in 1977, I was president of the Harvey Milk Club, and we were, I think, a reasonable force in the city at the time. And Gilbert and I were at the Castro Street Fair. And literally, Gilbert is sketching out this vision for me. We talked about it a little bit, but he's pointing. It's going to be like there. It's going to be right at that spot. It's going to be that big, you know. It's going to be huge. It's going to be beautiful. And who should we see walking our direction but Mayor Willie Brown? So we're looking at each other, and it's like, what do you think? Should we go after him? So we cornered the mayor. And the thing about Gilbert was that when Gilbert had these visions, there were really two types of people. Some would run for the hills. Me, I would be like, Gilbert, this is fabulous. But you had to, Gilbert was out there. He was out there. He did a mile-long flag in New York City, for instance, at one point. So, and who's going to pay for this, right? But he's talking to Mayor Brown, and you can see the mayor suddenly, like me, become enthralled, entranced, bedazzled, befuddled, who knows, but the mayor took it all in, and he could see that flag flying at that flagpole right over the Castro with this giant flag, and he looks at Gilbert, and he turns to one of his people, and he says, do it. Now, if you know, Castro Street Fair is the first Saturday in October. Now, this is 1997. Gilbert wanted this up for the anniversary of the election of Harvey Milk, the 20-year anniversary. And so it's first Tuesday in November. This flag pole was up, and this flag flew for the first time on the 20-year anniversary of Harvey Milk's election. And I don't know that anything in this city has moved that fast, and I don't know if there's a single permit for it. I don't know. But you were in charge of DPW. You have to tell us what happened to that. But we are going to landmark that flag. And the other thing that we're working on, and I'm sure the mayor is supportive, the people at the airport, we've talked about it, is next year is the 40th anniversary of the creation of the rainbow flag, that beautiful symbol that pops up all corners of the world. Uganda, Kazakhstan, you name it, China, it's everywhere. 40th anniversary, so we're going to do something at the airport. This was Gilbert's last dream that he shared with me. I came into this office, he came in to see me. It's like, I'm finally going to get to do my airport show. He'd actually been set up to do it in 2001. He had a meeting, he and Cleve had a meeting with Peter Nardoza, who was head of the Airport Commission. They were all ready to go. Unfortunately, the meeting that they had took place 1 week after 9/11. And nothing was happening at the airport, so his victory was snatched away from him. We're going to make it happen this time, and I think it's going to be spectacular. So Tom Taylor, great friend of Gilbert's, and really Tom Taylor and his husband, Jerry Goldstein. Gilbert did not make a dime off the flag. Somebody told him, you should patent it, you should do something to it so you get rich. And Gilbert says, no, the flag is for everybody. And Gilbert, I don't think Gilbert ever had any wealth at all. I mean, Gilbert really never sought to get rich, never sought to profit from anything, and created beautiful art all over the country and really around the world, even going to Rome. Tom Taylor and Jerry took care of Gilbert. For years, you were his patrons, his colleagues, his inspirations, and there's not enough I can say. I mean, you enabled all the beauty that Gilbert created to come forth. So thank you, Tom, and would you like to say a few words?
Gilbert is a longtime friend of Charlotte. Charlotte had Gilbert doing all sorts of flag projects here. And I remember coming down and helping in these crazy flag projects at the last minute. Charlotte had to have something done. And there was one crazy time, I think it was when the Greek priest came, whatever that was. Remember that? Okay. So we get down here, and as usual, Gilbert calls me, come on, go quick, I got a big problem. So Charlotte was used to having, a set of flags behind whoever was going to speak, and Gilbert would get them all ready and bring them to my shop and press them out. And this time, the Greek guy had a truckload or something on his plane, all these crazy flags with the poles. So I guess we were supposed to have an army and bring these flags in or something. And of course, Gilbert went crazy with it. So I devised a way that we'd have 3 on each one of the balconies. So we had, 200 or 300 flags in here that day. Remember that? And it was crazy. And in those days, Gilbert and all of us used to do a thing way up in the dome in there. So when Fleet Week came, we'd have the American flags and all that stuff. And then when the Navy guy would come up on stage and she'd wave at us, we'd drop the flag down. It was all very dramatic in those days. Remember that, Charlie? Yeah. So anyway, so I get up there and I go, okay, my job is to make everything work. The mile-long flag, you name it, I had to make it work. Gilbert had the idea, and then I had to go, all right, bitch, we got to make this work, It's the problem, So I get up in there, and the guy had these two big flags, had this symbol, and I go, okay, we'll put these two here, and I found a bigger one, whoops, and I said, we'll drop this as soon as the guy comes up on the podium. It'll be perfect. Because Gilbert's going crazy. We had flags up in here, remember we had flags there, and Gilbert's going nuts. As a flag queen, she was in her heaven, right? And he said to me, there was some movie that was made by, about Hitler one time that had flags all over it. He said, oh my God, this looks like a movie of Hitler. And she's going crazy, right? And of course, this is smoking a little too much dope, So we were up there, and the guy, Charlotte's there, and he introduces the guy, and he comes up with this robe, little hat on, and jewelry. And of course, Gilbert makes some cheap jewelry on that dude, and comes up there, and of course, we dropped this flag down. It was all beautiful. And then she's screaming at us on this little squonky radio thing. And we had dropped the flag. Two of them meant heaven, and the other one meant hell. And we dropped the flag that said hell when he came up on the stage. Remember that? Oh, God, too much. So anyway, through the years, we had so many crazy things we did, from sewing mile-long flags and banners and my shop and his sequins all over the windows of my shop and all that crazy thing. But, through the years, we never dreamed that our little sewing machines that many years ago that this would turn out to be the symbol that it has. And when we were in Rome and doing different projects around the world, we saw it growing. And now that he's passed, just the momentous of it. And lately we saw in Taiwan, I think it was Taiwan, they have a flag, a white one, with the outline of their country and their gay colors. And then on the other side of the world, they have another country that has a gay flag and has a symbol of wheat on it. So we're slowly going around the world. So the flag now carries a much stronger idea than Gilbert and I would have ever dreamed of. So thank you.
So thank you to everyone for coming. Oh, and I forgot to mention Health Commissioner Dan Bernal is here today, by the way. But we have food, we have drink, again, courtesy of the Bob Ross Foundation. And let's move forward this Pride in the spirit of Gilbert, which means absolute fierce joy and absolute determined, unmovable resistance. So thank you.